Hey guys, so this is a instructional for Khruangbin's Dern. This is not the normal like album version, just of what like Mark plays. So I don't want to waste anybody's time who thinks that's what this is. This is like a fingerstyle solo guitar arrangement, something that'll sound a little bit like this. So that's what this video is all about. So if you're looking for the regular version, I'm sure there's some other videos for you to find. So I'm really just going to dive into it. And sometimes I talk too much, so I'm sorry. I'm going to try just to go step by step. We're going to start with just the notes and like a lot of the left hand stuff. Yeah, I have kind of a kind of fingerstyle percussive thing going on with the right hand. We'll get to that later. You can play this many different ways, and that right hand stuff is kind of hard. So that might hold some people back if I just start with that. We're just going to play it normal. So the song starts with kind of that. Just those two chords. That's a B minor 7 up at the 7th fret, and then an E minor 7, or that's what I play. But just a B minor and an E minor. I think of this as like the bookend section. It'll come back right before the solo and later on. But you can play it however you want. And I just later on I'll kind of get a little more intricate. But right now I just play those chords. And so the melody is going to go like this next. It's going to be, so I'm just putting my pinky down there on the 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th fret. And then I move down to a D chord. And it's just the three notes here. Dum, 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 dum. So we go like this, and then we drag down again to just a B minor, like that. But we got pinky up here again on the 5th string, and then so if I keep talking this much, this video is going to take forever. I'm just going to go real slow, and if there's something weird, I'll kind of point it out. But and this is just the pinky alone. You can play this like this, just because that's so easy to get to from. Or you can make the voicing a little more closed, a little more consistent, and put your 2nd and 3rd fingers down. So. And then the next thing I do is I just leave my pinky down, but I do a kind of a half bar up here on the 2nd fret with my index finger and go. So. So this pinky is down there for a while. And you can actually just take your whole hand off at this point. This chord will show up a lot. It's just all those 5 open strings, and then go. So. Okay, so. This is a D major chord in kind of a C shape, like this, in kind of a bar C shape. The worst bar chord of them all, but it just comes down here. So, or you can just play it straight up like. And the next thing is right here with your ring finger, you're going to hammer on. So. You can do 2 in a row. Back to B minor. So this is a little tricky to time, but you just go. I hit the note, I hit the E with my pinky and just drag it up. You want to drag it up 2 frets, and you just got to kind of get used to the timing. I'll try not to play with percussion here. And just, you land on that. This is an E minor 7 kind of thing, and just leave that 1 finger on. So. Then goes just those 2 strings. And I've got my index finger on the 2nd fret on the 1st and 2nd strings here. And I play this a couple different ways throughout the song, but the most basic way is kind of like and if you can't, if you don't have the strength to do that, you can just do it like that. I kind of like the parallel fourths there. Just kind of a little bit of Asian sort of thing. I don't know if that's accurate, but I guess to Americans it sounds Asian. Anyway, the song Dern kind of has some, at least the name of it has some Asian inspiration there. So I guess when I started playing it that way, I kind of liked that feel. But you can play it in kind of a more 3rd centric harmony. It's a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder to land on that last chord if you do it that way. Then you're back in D, and it kind of, this A section that we're still kind of working in kind of just keeps revolving around. D major, B minor, E minor, and then this I guess they call it a sus chord. But okay, so we're back in D. I'll just play everything we've done so far real quick, and try not to do the percussion. My right hand might get away from me and start doing it. You can also, I tried another way to do it. I didn't put this anywhere in the version I recorded. You can do, but I never could land that at full speed. Anyway, your mileage may vary. Anyway, so we're back to that. Hammer on those if you want. Okay, so it just did the whole thing one more time. And this transition out of the A section into, I guess, what you can call B section does a little hammer on here. Where are we? And then, so you're in the B section. And again, I'm going to try to talk less here, but we're back in that D shape with, it's a C shape, it's a D chord in a C shape. So but you're going to go, and then lift everything off except the pinky. less here. So you gotta pull your index finger joint down here to get kind of a partial bar. You're gonna go, and then everything should be back in the same place for you to get to that C shape D major. So. And you keep doing that. The second time, so when you get to the third and the fourth time around, on this part, Mark kind of goes, he kind of, instead of just going straight up to it, he kind of does that little articulation. And you can do it exactly that way, but again, sometimes you gotta sacrifice just a little bit for the rhythm if you can't land it, so I play it like this. Or how do I play it? Just find the way that works for you. Now, one thing I should point out, so the song basically just repeats that thing 4 times and then goes back into the A section. That 4th time, I kind of like to make it back into that A sus chord, so what I do is, instead of this E minor kind of feel, just kind of, to me, it signals, we're going back. So anyway, another thing for people who are picky, this whole B section, which will come back later again, it's a kind of a, Laura Lee's kind of playing a D thing, and then she's playing an E thing, and then an F sharp. And it's kind of ambiguous what the real harmony is. It could be D, B minor, or not B minor, E minor. It could be like this. It could be like that. Or it could be, to my ears, it could be a anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is when you play this third chord, you might change 1 or 2 notes if you don't like the way I play it, or there's something real picky about your ear that you can hear something doesn't sound right. That's okay. Dig into that. Decide if you're playing what's basically a 3 minor chord or a first inversion 1 chord there. But that's just real picky. You can figure that out on your own. Anyway, we're back to. So I go back. The way I get back to it is I put my first finger down here. And then I've kind of pulled the melody an octave down to make it flow, and you'll kind of see why in a second. So and then we go back up. So more fluid. And then it's back through the A section the same way. Oh, there is one thing I do the first time around there, instead of going, just because I think, you're going to hear that probably a good 6, 7, or 8 times by the time the song is done. So the first time I do, which is, it's kind of an A minor. Well, it's an A minor shape. That's a B minor chord. So B minor. And I'm just sort of tracing it. But for that last one, I lift my pinky up to make it a B minor 7. Then put it back down for the next one. So, and you can, hit that E minor however you want to. Like that, like that, like that, like that. You want to have a few variations because, this song repeats some of the sections a few times. And the one I did, I kind of planned out just small variations that make it seem a little less repetitive. Anyway, so we did the A section, we did the B section, and then we've gone back through the A section. Now, whereas the last time we came out of this A section like we have to leave the A section differently because we're going to a new section, the C section, I guess I can call it. So it goes so it's a similar idea, but it starts on the 5th string instead. And okay, so now C section kind of goes like this. Let's see. Okay, so we call this kind of baseball grip, and not everybody, your hands are big enough to do this. That's okay. I've also got my Strat, I think, is a pretty narrow neck. And in all dimensions, it seems small. It's kind of why I like it, because I can do a lot of baseball grip stuff. But you can play it, normal classical grip. You just have to find the fingering. I don't have this worked out, but you can do it. It's just your mileage may vary. I just kind of got used to doing this after a while, even though I started with classical. So my teacher always would, do this to my thumb whenever it was coming up. So go like this. But, it's just another thing in your toolbox if you can reach it. So, this is kind of a first inversion D shape. Now, Mark is playing this whole section double stops. Kind of a sort of a thing. So I try to grab that for just a little while. So, first finger, 4th finger. I'm trying to mute the 5th string here with my index finger, and when you're doing these double stops, you have to mute the 5th string and the 3rd string here. So just that 4th string's getting down, and it's just angled enough so that it can get both sides also to. And then, but you're also getting that bass note at the same time. And your hand should be back in the right place after those double stops to just hit the A shape. So and I keep doing this percussion. We'll get there in a second. So the second time he does that, he kind of goes, well, we'll just play the whole thing. He kind of gets a little more aggressive, strumming it. But he does this again 4 times. They do it 4 times. Now, I guess you could play double stops the whole way here. That might sound kind of cool. What I do is just back down like we did the last few times, and go back to this that shape that we played before. So. And we're back in the A section. Okay, so whereas, the first time we left the A section, we did this thing. And the second time we did this. This time, he just does this. So, the only thing, he just kind of strums it, where he stays on that same note, and to recreate them, I'm trying to strum. So, let's see. So there's 2 different chords there. Basically, it's an E minor thing and then an A sus thing. And the only way I make it clear that we're changing is I just bring my thumb over to mute the E string. So. You really want to bring that A out on the second one. The first time, I guess I don't even play it. I just kind of pick it. But now we're going back to the B section, the section where we were doing this. But this time, I want to bring out the harmony a little bit. So what I do is I go. So instead of this, we're doing this. And instead of this, I'm doing. Excuse me. Yeah. So. This is a little bit tricky too. So whereas last time you had to get used to that tricky, this one it goes like this. Okay, so we've gone through that again, and we got this weird thing here. So the last time, so this is the second time we're playing the B section, and this is the 4th time through this little riff. I do this. And this is my favorite part of the arrangement, just of how well it worked out. But it goes. And then we're back to kind of the bookend intro section. So let's go over that one more time. It's like. Hammer on here, so you're putting a bar down, but the first part of it, you kind of want to use the meat of your finger to get the hammer on, and then continue laying it down. So hammer on, pinky is doing a double stop. And now we're going to kind of a B minor. So this is the chord, but we got to leave that E open. So it's kind of a half bar. We're only doing a few strings here, leaving this open E open. But we still need that bar because we're going to do some pull-offs here. So, but it's happening all over an E bass. So you can't bring it up to there. And then you just kind of have to smoothly transition into a strumming that B chord without the E. So. In the right place. But okay, we're back to the bookend, and you can play this however you want. It just repeats a lot more times than the first time we heard it. It's a B minor to an E minor, and they keep going back and forth. And you can go up. You can kind of play this E minor 9 shape. I do. But you kind of want to make your way back down at some point. Okay, so, in the song, they're really building up to this. It's sort of like a solo section. It's sort of like you can think of it as like a coda, I guess, because the song's kind of gone through its whole form once, but they're just kind of revisiting, going back to the last few statements of the form. So they're going back to the C section. What I'm trying to get at is they're building up to make this really energetic. And if you can find a way to play this section really energetic, good on you. For me, just the way I was crafting the arrangement, the way I had to play these chords, instead of building up, I kind of tried to build down. Wherever this section is going, it's just going to be a contrast. They play it, kind of hardcore, and it kind of became the solo section for Mark. But for me, just with my limitations, I want those chords to start building down so I can come into this C section again, kind of softly. Okay, so I play the C section a little bit differently this time through, to get a little variation. So it's got this shape here, and I hammer on. If you can't manage that with your hand strength, you can play it like that, or you can. Play just one note if you want. There's a lot of different ways to play this, but if you play it, in a good rhythm, with kind of some planning as far as how you're going to manage the energy, like we're talking about. If you want to play this section quietly, or you want to have some distortion and really go for it, find your own way. But this is how I play it. So it's kind of a pull off there. And you have to kind of study the song, because Mark does just a little few things differently with the melody. It's easy to forget. The first time through, he always goes down, but the second time through, the more solo section, he's kind of going. He kind of goes back up every single time. And again, that's how I play that section. You can find a way that works for you. let me play that third time through. It's a little awkward, and honestly, I think for me, this is the weakest part of my arrangement, just the way I play it. I know you can nail this down a little bit better, or find a better way to play it, but so let's play that whole section. Okay. Yeah, it starts with those notes. So back to the A section. And he goes, this is just another A sus thing, and your pinky up here on the D. Then they just kind of do this. So that starts out here. I just put my third finger on the first fret of the sixth string, and then play string 6, 5, 4, and 3. It's just, a 7-chord shape. And then drag it up one fret, and then you have to lay your index finger down to get the same harmony. And you're going up, and your target is to get to this D here. But before you get there, you're just gonna go. Lay your third finger down here on the 9th fret of the second string. So here. And then I just kind of... again, just like the solo, this section is really kind of hardcore, and in their version there. But you got to manage the energy of whatever arrangement, you're playing. So to me, this section kind of gets quiet again. And just sort of ends gently. Okay, let's see. That's kind of just the step-by-step. Again, so the way I manage the energy in mine, which I know I've said this a few times, but it's really important, especially when you're playing by yourself. You don't have a lot of tools for controlling the energy. We're already, by trying to play this song alone instead of with friends, we're already kind of destroying a lot of the our potential dynamics here. So what I do, the first time I play through the A section, I don't do any percussion. I just sort of play. So. And it's sort of it's not in a rhythm, it's sort of what's the word? Recitative, maybe. And when I really start the rhythm is when I go. And that's when I start the kind of right hand percussion too, is that part. So you got a few tools for kind of crafting your energy arc here. You can do volume, you know, kind of have this more quiet, accented kind of. You can do that in some sections. One thing Mark is really good at is he knows when to choke up on notes and that was terrible Mark imitation, but you know, holding the sustaining notes versus kind of keeping them shorter. You know, you can kind of bring your palm down here on the bridge to kind of and you can also, you know, take away percussion. There's some parts of it where I try not to play, you know, this snare thing. So I should get into this percussive part. And big warning, be judicious about getting these kind of snare sounds. When you first learn to do that, you get really fascinated with it, and you tend to, and that's like all you're doing. That's all you can hear. You're doing it so loud, and it sounds really bad if all you can hear is the snare and you can't hear the notes very well, especially if your rhythm's not that great. So you need to be real selective about how loud you do this. And there's kind of different parts to it depending on what you're playing. You can kind of, your fingers kind of drag here, and it's sort of a brush, and then your thumb just kind of comes to a rest. And the harder you do it, though, your thumb comes a little more into play of smacking. What's happening is your strings are hitting the frets, basically. You're hitting it hard enough that, you know, some of these bass strings are slapping against the frets, and you're getting a little pop, you know, around the pickup just from the percussive part. So okay, so this is just you know, I grew up playing a little bit of classical, a little bit of fingerstyle, like Travis picking sort of things, and also kind of it took me years to figure out how he did it, but it's also a little bit of the John Mayer, or the way John Mayer does it with the clarity part. Oh, let me try that better. So there's a little details as I'm playing that I really can't explain that great. I'm just going to play very slowed down a little bit of this, kind of in what I call the bookend section. And you can kind of slow it down, look at what I'm doing, figure out what you want to do. You can play the song without percussion and without this, you know, all these articulations. But that's the main pattern, I think, that I play a lot. You know, and some of it's all in the right hand. There's maybe every once in a while I'm kind of cutting a short note by lifting it up with my left hand. I wish I could kind of show you a magic formula for that, but you have to work that out. So let me play through the whole song really slowly with the percussion and see if something else comes to mind. Okay. That part's a little tricky with the percussion there. So you know, because you're just hitting the first string. Usually I let my hands do it there, but I usually try to stick to this and try to let it come out later in the arrangement. You know, just it's all about, you know, managing little changes in energy, and a little bit goes a long way. You don't have to change it a ton. You just need to get the energy moving in a certain direction. Sometimes I do this, if I can hit it right. Hit that. That's why I never tried to do the I'm getting carried away. I'm playing the snare a little too loud. Really, nothing sounds worse than somebody who has nailed the snare, but not any of the rest of the notes. Too loud still. I didn't hit all the notes there, but the rhythm is what's most important. Let's see. Yeah. of 10 times. Rarely do I get to play the whole thing through in a way that sounds good, but so I still got probably another year or two sitting with this song before personally I get good at it, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that'll handle it pretty well. So, you know. Take it all the way up. D shape. My first string is not coming out very much, so I kind of have to struggle to get it louder. Partially because I'm trying to do that thing with the flat gauge string set, but like bump them all down one string that Mark does. Anyway, if you know, you know from the Premier guitar rig rundown. Anyway, my first string is such a low gauge, and I haven't adjusted my pickups enough to bring out. But anyway, that's why you can't really hear it. I think that's it. Yeah, and that's one thing I would like to nail better is the end. So I kind of want to do a drag there, but I'm not that good at it yet. All right. I think I hit all the points I wanted to. Sorry for talking so much. But you know, I never really expected this to work as fingerstyle, and it kind of did. But you know, there are some parts, especially when coming down to this C shape, where there's not a lot of space between the bass and the melody, and it doesn't seem like it's going to work. Like, so. You know, that when you're first starting to work out the song, that feels really weak. But what I'm trying to say is, if you can get it fluid, whatever you play, whatever you decide to play, if you can get it fluid, you know, with good rhythm, and make sure your arrangement kind of has a little bit of direction, it's not just the same energy level the whole way through. That's you've gotten a huge portion of the battle, and you'll keep people's attention, or make them feel something, you know, as long as you don't slam that snare too hard. It's all about the hi-hat anyway, which unfortunately that's hard to replicate. Solo guitar, yeah, you really Deej's hi-hat. It's the most underrated member of the band. So yeah, if you want to play it that way, that's all I can think of right now. And I'm just sitting here trying to think of something else. Oh, yeah. I play it with a capo. I prefer to play things in the original key because, I think you can make any key sound however you want, but there's a little bit of flavor, I think, to different keys. And I do think that song sounds great in D, and I think it resonates with people there. Just the way I have my guitar strung and it's kind of low tension. I thought it sounded a little bit better up here. It even sounds pretty good all the way up here, capoed on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th fret. It feels a little higher tension, but if you want to play it that way, you can, because it also makes things easier to reach. I need to stop. Have fun. And I think it's so cool that we have a band like Khruangbin. It's such an amazing combination of influences, a confluence of influences. And yet it's just, they're really simple. From a music theory standpoint, the songs are very simple, but the melodies and the rhythms and the song forms are so on point that it's just, yeah. But I don't need to tell you that if you sat through an hour of me talking about Dern, preaching to the choir. Okay, good luck, guys, gals, whomever.